All right, we are back. We are live. I hope. Check out LinkedIn, see what's going on. So, yet another episode of Looking for Work. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit and answer folks' questions. I'm hoping that people have some good questions about job search and what needs to be done in order for you to land that first job as a software engineer. I'm not seeing it live here yet. So if anybody out there is on LinkedIn and they see me, yeah, there you go. Logo says we're live. Awesome. So we do this every week. We do it at 12 o'clock on the Pacific time. And every week we talk about strategies that I've seen working, the things that I think are going to be most helpful for folks that are sort of looking for, again, that first opportunity to transition from whatever your regular life is into a job as a software engineer. My background is I've been coding for a really long time, writing software for quite some time. Hey, Samita, it's good to see you. In addition, I have really, over the last 5 years or so, focused on helping early career developers transition. I run a software apprenticeship program, so we help employ folks that are looking to transition into tech roles. And again, do this every week to just try and help out. I don't have a topic this week to kick the show off with. Instead, I'm just going to open it up. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them into the comment box below. And I'll wait a few minutes to let it catch up. And once we have our first few questions, I'll just start answering them. So pop them into the chat box. I know we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, we're on YouTube. The Periscope thing, I guess, is still a thing, as well as Twitch. So I added another follower on Twitch. That's pretty exciting. So Twitch is up there. I think we have like 4 or 5 followers. So, I don't really promote it. We don't really do that much live streaming other than these events. So I'm hoping that takes off. I'm super excited because as soon as I finish this, I'm going to tear this desk apart, and it's a hand-me-down. My son's going to get a nice little crank-up standing desk, and I am going to get a new electric standing desk. So Christmas is coming a little early this week for me. So again, if you have questions, drop them in the chat box. Happy to hang out here for a little bit, answer your question, see if I can be helpful in any way. And yeah, get us started with this holiday week. So throw a question in the box. Makes this way more entertaining. And then I'm going to check my emails and just see if I got anything that's coming through from anybody. I don't remember getting anything this past week. So yeah, nothing so far. But it's all right. There's still time. Awesome. Hey, Muffin. Good to see you. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Everybody's excited for Christmas, a little time off. And I hear that we got some snow on the East Coast, so hopefully everybody's inside and safe, not out there in the deep snow. Hey, Marcus. Good to see you. And we have a question. So what are my thoughts on automation as it pertains to like the job search process and trying to automate help me understand or give me a little bit more context so that I can better answer that question. So while you're working on that, in terms of for the job search process, there's not a lot that I've seen or thought about that could be done to automate the process, like web scraping, or I guess you could say that using a CRM and having some tooling in place to sort of like do some nurturing of contacts that you're reaching out to could be useful. I think it might be time consuming to set that up, even though there are some free solutions out there. So yeah, help me understand a little bit more about automation or the context around that. And yeah, I'm more than happy to chat about that. In terms of whether or not that's going to create or eliminate jobs, I had an interesting conversation with someone earlier today over at Salesforce. So we were talking about, hey, some of the functionality at Salesforce could eliminate the jobs for some people because it sort of like automates workflows and whatnot. It's like, yeah, but it also creates jobs for those people that have to, on our side, be hired to help companies set up those automations because they're not going to be able to do that stuff on their own. So it does create a niche of opportunities for some people. My thought process for software engineers is to not be in any way like resentful or fearful that you're going to be automated out of a job or that we're going to automatically be coding or machines will be coding for themselves. We're still light years away from that. And it's also important to know that a lot of the frontline jobs that are being automated still are going to require people to write software. They're still going to have to maintain systems and services. And a lot more is going to go to like data engineering. And so we're hopefully going to be preparing people for more of those roles moving forward. And so again, I'm not as I'm quite optimistic actually that I think a lot of that automation is going to require more advanced software and people to be familiar with software and what it takes to automate and make things more efficient. So that's my general take on it. Anybody have any other questions? Or you could just drop a comment in there. If you got something maybe nice for Christmas or some big plans, please tell me the plans are not traveling and going to visit a bunch of relatives. That's not good. So anybody going to get a vaccine? That would be pretty nice. Mad shout out if you drop a comment in here that you're going to get a vaccine. That'd be pretty legit. So a random LinkedIn user asks, hey, Mike, what is the best way for a junior dev to get some experience with and learn more about moving into the AI space? Ah, nice. AI is pretty exciting. So I tend to think of, in my mind, machine learning and AI are kind of all the same because I'm not really deep in that niche. I have T-shaped experience like a lot of folks, maybe a E-shaped experience, right? Where like an E laying flat, where I have deep experience in a few areas, but one of them is not machine learning or AI. And so I think the best way to get experience is to pick something that you're passionate about solving and give it a try, right? So the best way is to work on passion projects, but instead of coming into it with the thought process of like, let me go take a course and just generally have some knowledge about it, try and pick a specific thing that you're interested in trying to apply AI to, right? So if there's some way that you could, hey, I'd love to be able to build a small rig, like a cryptocurrency rig, that could be used to train a model more efficiently than my little laptop here. Awesome. Because now you have something that is going to require you to, one, spend a lot of money, like spending money buying stuff, right? But you could then have a reason to have to go pretty deep and have to understand what are the hardware requirements, what does it take to actually like build something out, etc. So I would say there's also some good cloud options. So each of the different providers like Azure, Google, and AWS all have options to do some machine learning and some AI using the cloud. So you don't necessarily need to buy your own resources, but you can figure out, well, how do I leverage their platforms and start sort of dipping my toes in the water? So I think it's Laurel has that has that question. And again, I'd say just pick some projects and see if you can jump in and really have a problem to solve. Because once you have a problem to solve, it will kind of force you to keep pushing yourself and keep sort of like going down these little rabbit holes and figuring out which direction. And that will give you sort of a broad base of knowledge. And then you can start figuring out, oh, is this something that you actually want to do as a career? Or is this something that you're more interested in? So Teresa asks, do I recommend 3D software? Sure. I mean, it depends on the use case. Teresa, are you using it to for like 3D printing in order to like create things? Are you like modeling something? Like, help me understand a little bit more context, and that might help me to sort of like make a general suggestion. But if you're yeah, so I just need a little bit more context because that's a big wide open question. So if you want to ask a more specific question or give me a little bit more context, that would be helpful. So Stephanie asks, what's important when checking a team member's code? A lot of things. The first and most basic is, does it work, right? And so I think you'll want to make sure that you can validate it on another computer system, right? Not on the machine that they wrote it on, but on a separate sort of clean, pristine environment. Can you actually run that code? And does it meet the actual story? So going back and looking at, well, what was the objective? What were we trying to accomplish with this particular piece of code? That's, I think, the next thing. And so sometimes we sort of avoid the most obvious, and we go right after things like, does it have good codes? Does it follow good code standards? Right. So is it readable? Is it maintainable? Does it follow best practices? So we almost immediately sometimes start looking for those, because those are what we call code smells, right? Those are signals that the code may not be of high quality. So we start looking for those things to determine, like, is this high quality code? But I would really encourage you to first step back and think about, does it accomplish the needs of the business or customer? And if so, does it do it in a way that is maintainable and readable and efficient and all of those kinds of things? And then you just kind of go down that priority list, right? So after you know that this does serve a purpose and it is not broken, then you can start looking at, okay, I usually put on my, like, I'm a dumb person hat. Like, okay, if I'm a dumb person, can I read this code? Right? If I'm not able to, well, I guess I shouldn't say dumb. If I'm stupid, can I read this code? Right? And if so, when I read the code, does it make sense? And would I be able to figure out what's going on? Are there places where it might need to be refactored, right? And so from that standpoint, if you have those kinds of observations, then I would say, provide that feedback to the original author and say, hey, here's some suggestions that might make this code better and might serve that ultimate purpose. So that's why I start. I start with that. Then go into the bigger, is it tested? So look for code coverage. Is this code covered by one or more unit tests, end-to-end tests, integration tests? Can you sort of prove in some sort of like with some level of precision that it is actually doing what you think it's going to do? And can I maintain it? Can I change out the code without breaking everything around it because there's no test coverage, right? So those would be the main things I would look for. Hopefully that's helpful, Stephanie. Good question. What else? Seeing none, this turns out is going to be maybe a short looking for work session today. Has everybody that's looking for work just decided they're going to pause until January? Not a good idea, by the way. You want to keep trying to reach out to folks, keep trying to make connections. There are definitely organizations right now that are sort of like thinking about what the first quarter is going to look like next year. So it's a great time to be having conversations with folks. Friday might be kind of tough to get a response back, but like the rest of this week, next week, the right people are going to be in there, even if it's a skeleton crew. And those are the folks you want to talk to, the real software engineers that are working over the holidays. So I'm not seeing any other questions. So there's a little bit of lag time, but if I don't see any soon, then what I'm going to probably do is let's You guys go. I'm gonna start tearing my desk apart. All right. Seeing none, we're gonna make this a short one, and I'm gonna wish everybody happy holidays, happy New Year. I will see everybody hopefully next week on Tuesday, and then we into 2021 before we know it. So, take care, everybody. Happy holidays.